Many criminals get away with murder and rape, and they can do this since many times DNA is not used or rape kits were not used either. So these criminals are allowed to just live on knowing that they committed this heinous crime. If they used this type of valuable information, then these criminals could have a better chance of getting caught. It could also lead to a lower crime rate, since then a criminal would know that they could possibly get caught easier. DNA was first introduced into a case in 1986 in England, and it was regarding two men who were working and living in the neighborhoods where two rapes and murders happened. There was a man who got convicted at first, but he was innocent, and the guilty criminal got caught. This happened since they presented the evidence in court, proving that the innocent one did not do it and the guilty one did. The other side says that DNA can sometimes be irrelevant to the storyline of the crime. But can DNA really do more harm than good? DNA helps way more than it does harm, so this is a great reason why we need to enforce the use of it in court. DNA has helped solve cases that are older, and when they did not think of using DNA, they did not think of using it because it was not introduced yet, since this happened before 1986 when DNA was first introduced. Based on the article about the Golden State Killer on CNN. In 2018, cops used a free genealogy and DNA database called GEDmatch to capture the killer, and they ended up getting a name for a possible suspect. Quote, then in 2018, DNA led to D'Angelo's arrest. Authorities used a free genealogy and DNA database called GEDmatch to try to track down the killer who had evaded them for decades. They created a profile with crime scene DNA, and in April 2018, D'Angelo's name emerged in what investigators believe was a pool of possible suspects. End quote. This gave cops such a leg up in the investigation, since they had not had much of a lead since 2001. This then opened up a lot of doors so that the authorities could have a better understanding of who this killer could be. It also helped them realize that this can be used to help them solve other cases. Not only was the DNA used, put into the site, but it was also analyzed in a family tree, which helped to narrow down the suspect list. Based on another article about the Golden State Killer on Washington Post, a relative of the Golden State Killer had put their DNA into the system, and when testing different people who were in the database, the relative's name came up. This then narrowed the suspect to be a part of one family. When they thought of the fact to use a family tree, this helped them localize a specific area and family to look for. They were looking at around millions of possible suspects, but when they realized that there was a relative, they dug deeper and narrowed it down to one single family. Including the countless times DNA has been used, there's something that is not being used, and that is rape kits. They will go unheard of in a case, and this could be the missing puzzle piece to a case. Based on studies by USA Today, there has been at least 70,000 rape kits that have been neglected, and this is including many different police districts and areas. Quote, in the most detailed nationwide inventory of untested rape kits ever, USA Today and journalists from more than 75 Gannett newspapers and Tegna TV stations have found at least 70,000 neglected kits in an open records campaign covering 1,000 plus police agencies and counting. Despite its scope, the agency-by-agency count covers a fraction of the nation's 18,000 police departments, suggesting the number of untested rape kits reaches into the hundreds of thousands. End quote. Why is there so many rape kits not being taken into account for if all they are doing is providing the information that a certain side would need? This is just further proving how these rape kits and DNA need to be included into cases and should have the power to convict someone. Using the DNA can be an invasion of privacy against a person who might not have been convicted. There are DNA banks where the DNA of criminals is kept, but sometimes if a person gets into an altercation with the police and they are not convicted, their DNA could accidentally go into the DNA bank, and some find that an invasion of their privacy. According to Future of Working, It is really not invading their privacy because the authorities are trying to find out what really happened, and if you did nothing wrong, then you should have no problem with them looking at your DNA. Quote, several countries nowadays maintain DNA banks of people who committed crimes. Unfortunately, there have been some cases where the DNA of people who were arrested but not convicted were accidentally entered into the database. End quote. The disadvantages of using DNA do not outweigh the advantages of using DNA, since there is a possibility that a witness can lie or there may be no witness. Well, if the DNA is there, that will not lie, since that is factual and you cannot change it up, since that was what was taken from the scene of the crime. It can clearly be seen that DNA and rape kits need to be used in court cases, since they provide factual information, but also since they can lead the authorities to a possible piece of the puzzle they cannot find. We need many to realize that DNA is not here to harm anyone in any way. Instead, it is here to bring justice to whatever is clearly giving someone like a detective a hard time. Its purpose is to find the truth and the truth only, since the DNA cannot lie. A witness could tell you a whole story and be lying to you, but DNA and rape kits won't. This is why lots of trust needs to be put into this stunning piece of work, because this will only make work easier for everybody. It is already trusted, it just needs the extra reinforcement to be used every time it's possible.